Let's go! Today I'm going to be talking about what has been going on with Bitcoin's price action for the past week or so and why we have not seen another move up yet. After all, some coins have been doing very well. Polkadot has exploded to over $18. Cardano is all the way up to 34 cents and Chainlink is above $20. I actually made videos about all three of those coins back when DOT was below $5. Cardano was 22 cents and Link was $14. Hopefully, some of you were able to profit off of these recent price movements, but if you missed out on those calls, make sure to subscribe with post notifications on so you do not miss any of the videos in the future. But in this video, I will also be sharing some very interesting on-chain metrics about Bitcoin that show us why things are as bullish as ever behind the scenes, even when the price does not really show that. There is also a couple of noteworthy events that have occurred recently, which I will be covering regarding Grayscale and Ripple lawsuit. I will also have a quick update about Altseason at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. To start off, let us take a very simple look at the supply and demand of Bitcoin. Bitcoin supplies increased as miners earn new Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not have a burn function that actually destroys coins, but when people buy Bitcoin to hold long term, it decreases the active supply, which is all that matters in the short to medium term. Currently, about 900 new Bitcoin are mined each day. That may seem like a lot to retail investors like us, but when compared to the amount of Bitcoin being bought by institutions, it is nowhere close. Grayscale alone bought 5,132 Bitcoin in the past 24 hours, 9,782 in the last week, and 47,297 in the past month. That is only one source of buying power, and it is already more than the net inflow of Bitcoin in those time periods. This is in essence why price goes up. If people want to keep buying, they have to offer more money per Bitcoin to convince other people to sell. However, this lack of sellers is far more intense than it may seem on the surface. To get the details of how serious the liquidity crisis actually is, I am going to use this thread on Twitter by on-chain analyst Rafael Schulze-Kraft. To start off, this is a chart of the number of Bitcoin being held in what he calls accumulation wallets. Accumulation wallets are just wallets that have only ever received Bitcoin and never sent. These wallets are the true hodlers, and they hold 2.7 million Bitcoin, about 14.5% of the circulating supply. Next up is lost coins. 21 million is the programmed maximum supply of Bitcoin, but in reality, the actual maximum is much less. Estimates differ to certain degrees, but most are around 3 million, bringing the real maximum supply down to 18 million. Next is something I have discussed extensively, and that is institutional demand. We see Grayscale continuously buying massive chunks of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy and Square also bought significant amounts. And if you want to see exactly how much Bitcoin companies and other institutions hold, then you can go to bitcointreasuries.org and see not only how many Bitcoin these companies hold, but the prices they bought at and a lot of other interesting details. Now, let's look at the amount of Bitcoin being held on exchanges. This is important to monitor because when these numbers start decreasing, it means people are buying Bitcoin faster than exchanges can resupply. As you can see on this chart, since January of 2020, the amount of Bitcoin held by exchanges have decreased by 20%. If we compare this to the previous bull run that peaked in the end of 2017, we can see that back then the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges actually increased substantially. If we look back even further, we can see that the last long decrease in supply was actually from July of 2016 to January of 2017. If this pattern repeats itself, then that would put us currently at the very beginning of the next major bull run. That is extremely exciting because we are just starting off. Then this pump to $40,000 will look small compared to what comes next. So, some of you may be wondering, are there any other ways to tell what part of the market cycle we are currently in? Well, no one can ever say with absolute certainty, but there are a couple of different models to estimate what is coming next. One of the best known models for Bitcoin's long-term price action is the stock-to-flow model. The stock-to-flow model can actually be used with other commodities as well as with like gold, silver, and platinum. The line under the dots here is the stock-to-flow ratio line. That ratio measures the current available amount of the commodity versus the amount produced annually. As many of you may know, one of the key characteristics that makes Bitcoin so scarce is the fact that the rate at which it is produced is cut half roughly every 4 years at the halvings. The color of the dots on the chart indicate how many days until the next halving, with purple being the color at the halving. If we look at the previous halvings, we can see that both times there was a period directly after where price stayed mostly flat before it actually started going parabolic. And I truly do mean parabolic because the price scale for this model is logarithmic. So after the first halving, Bitcoin did a 10x here from $10 to $100 before consolidating and doing another 10x to $1,000. The bull run after the second halving followed a different pattern. That time it was a single, longer, more controlled uptrend that did about a 25x, but with a lot of serious pullbacks around the way. We have already gotten through the post-bull run consolidation and third halving, so let's try to predict what would happen next. Out of the two previous runs, I think that so far price is mirroring that of the run that occurred after the first halving more than that of the second. Both times, as the dots turned orange, price underwent very rapid expansion. If we mirror the previous pattern exactly, then this current pump should top out at $80,000 to $100,000, about a 10x. If we continued following that pattern, then we would dip and consolidate for about 6 to 9 months before doing another 10x, which would cause Bitcoin to reach a value of $800,000 to $1 million per coin by the end of 2022 to mid-2023. Let me just clarify that this is not guaranteed, but that is if this cycle mirrors the very first, then this is possibly a very likely scenario. It is also important to note that each cycle has taken longer so far, so it is likely that this run could be the longest yet, giving us even more time to make money. While things are looking bullish for Bitcoin and a lot of other coins, things are not looking good for XRP, at least in the short run of things. While Ripple has announced that they are going to fight the lawsuit and expect to win, exchanges are still going ahead with their delistings starting around January 19th. Along with the delistings, Grayscale has also announced that they are dissolving their XRP trust as a response to investor sentiment following the SEC lawsuit. Things are not looking good for XRP or Ripple because Ripple has obtained the majority of their revenue in previous years by selling XRP tokens. If they are no longer able to do this, they may become insolvent. Now, let's move on to something more positive, and that is one of the most exciting aspects of bull runs, Altseason. There will be profits to be made by holding or trading Bitcoin, but in every other market cycle, altcoins have outperformed. This is generally due to the fact that they have a much smaller market cap, so they can pump extremely hard, extremely quickly. So when is this going to happen? Alts usually takes off during periods when Bitcoin is consolidating, such as past week. This happens because people see that Bitcoin is probably going to go sideways for a while and move their money into different coins in the meantime. This could be part of the reasons why coins like DOT has taken off recently. I'm not saying that this is the alt season, but just an example of what is to come. One very simple measurement of whether or not it is alt season was created by Blockchain Center. They measure alt season by the number of coins outperforming Bitcoin in gains. When 75% of altcoins in the top 50 outperform Bitcoin, they can claim that it is alt season. Right now, as you can see here, we are just barely moved out of the Bitcoin season, which is when Bitcoin outperforms 75% of the altcoins. If the situation I described when going over the stock to flow model plays out, then there is a good probability that a major alt season will occur after Bitcoin tops out for the first time and before the second big run up. A lot of popular accounts on Twitter and other platforms likes to claim that alt season is here. Every time a handful of altcoins perform well, but trust me, you will know when it is here. In conclusion, even though Bitcoin's price has been ranging for a while, it is just preparing for the next big move. You can either just hold your Bitcoin, or if you want the opportunity to continue making gains while we wait, you can try to take advantage of some of the altcoins that are pumping. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a lot of the coins that I have made videos about have been doing very well recently. So if you want to make sure to keep up to date on all of the next altcoins to be covered on this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.